Good morning. I hope this doesn't get too long because I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite guys, Henri Nouwen. Henry is a priest who's born in Holland, and you can tell because if you listen to him, and you can go to internet and Google him, and Henry is with an I, by the way, of course, because he's from Holland, but he has a very Dutch accent and just has this warm and engaging and pulls you in type of discussion. He's just so inspiring. He wrote many, many books, and for this he became quite famous. I think his early ones were Reaching Out, Intimacy, and Wounded Healer. And one of the main things that he brought to like a spirituality that we need to experience is he didn't bring forth the fact that, oh, he's got it all set and he's going to explain to us how to do it. He's going to tell you he's wounded. You're going to feel his wounds in his words. And he was wounded. He suffered with depression. He suffered with wrestling with homosexuality. He suffered with not feeling at home or not in place. And he had this restlessness. There's a quote about that as it starts. This is a prayer that he wrote. And he says, "Dear Lord, I will remain restless, tense, and dissatisfied until I can totally be at peace in your house. There's no certainty in my life. My life will be easier in the years ahead, or that my heart will be any calmer. But there is the certainty that you are waiting for me and welcome me home when I have persevered my long journey to your house." So Henry comes to the country and teaches at Notre Dame. He then goes on and teaches at Yale for quite a while. He takes a year off, and now he's writing during this time. He became a very well-followed national speaker, and he takes a year off. What year is that? I think it's 74. And he goes to the Trappist monastery in Gethsemane. Now, he had met Thomas Merton earlier. And as he's talking spirituality, he felt he himself needed to get more spiritual himself. So he went there for a year and wrote a book about, I think it's called the 70 Genesee Diary, excuse me. And he goes back to Yale. And then after that, in 81, he goes to Latin America and tries working as a missionary down there, and he just doesn't feel like that connected in the same way. He has the ability in his talking and his wrestling with God. When you feel his hurt, then you feel like you got there a little closer. You get there a little further. He wrote a book. I think one of my favorites was The Prodigal Son. And in this, he had gone to where the actual Rembrandt painting was. I guess that's in France or somewhere. And he went and sat in front of this painting for 3 days. After the first day, they got him a chair so that he could just actually rest and be able to be there. But he stared and meditated on this painting for 3 days and then write a book about each of the characters in The Prodigal Son. The bad son, the good son, the father, all of these characters. And he describes the light and the potential insights of each. And it takes you deep, not only into the story, but he has a way of coming into your heart and saying, whoa, boy, I have some wrestling to do too. In what year? I think it's 82, he goes over to Harvard, and he does okay. A huge following at Harvard. Thousands would sign up for his classes, but he himself didn't feel all that satisfied. In 1986, and he had been visiting these communities. There's a communities called L'Arche, and they're out of France, and they're in Canada as well. And what they do is they had regular people living with severely handicapped people in order to help them along their way. And one of the heads of this in Toronto came into him when he was really down and out, gave him a big hug and said, you should come and be with us. So he did. And he moves to this place, and he takes care of an individual named Adam. And Adam is severely retarded. He's very physically disabled as well. So Henry has to wash him, bathe him. Besides being the chaplain for this community, he's got to take care of this Adam. And Adam isn't impressed with the fact that he's this famous fellow or a great speaker or anything else. But Henry feels like he gets into some really good spiritual conversation in terms of his own inner conversation, and that it just kind of opened him up to a sense of what it means to be beloved by God. What does it mean? God washing us in all the places we need to be washed. God caring for us when we really don't have the strength to do what we need to do. He, about a year after he's there, he actually has a severe emotional breakdown. He's tied up with some relationship that just doesn't seem right, weight and a strange dependence. But anyway, he comes out of this after he was, I think, bedridden for a while, and he's just had to really deal with this breakdown. But coming out of it, he developed a sense of being sent. He's sent to the all-embracing love the Father is known to people, that he was to make that love known to the people who hunger and thirst for love. And that's what it's about. Our journey is a journey of searching and following love. And as he started going through this and then had a couple other experiences, he got into writing with a certain amount of excitement or on the edge of something. And he wrote fairly recently, he said, the main question is not how will we still be able to do, the question is not how much will we be able to do during our last few years we have left to live, but rather, how can we prepare ourselves for a death in such a way that our dying will be a new way for us to send our own and God's Spirit to those whom we loved and who have loved us. I have had 3 siblings pass away, but the most recent, my younger sister Patty, died. She had the most incredible death. She had a dream one night, and she was terrified. She was so scared. And all of a sudden it hit her, whether she's a dream or awake, it hit her that, oh, hey, wait, everybody's got to die. I guess it's just my time. And at that point, she just accepted it. And you should never talk to anyone who's dying who had the attitude she did. She just was so carefree and relaxed about it. She goes, well, I don't know how this is all going to work out. I've never done this before. And it's just interesting. Well, Henri Nouwen had the same sense of acceptance, all the rest. And he passed away. He has a surprising heart attack. I think he's 68. It's September 21st. And he had a lot of friends. And they said that many, and he wrote in his book, one of the last books he wrote, he said, many friends and family members have died during the past 8 years. And my own death is not so far away, but I have heard the inner voice of love, deeper and stronger than ever. Isn't that cool? Can I hear that inner voice? I want to keep trusting in that voice and be led by it beyond the boundaries of my short life to where Christ is all and in all. Let us listen. Let us today not be totally taken up with whatever we're doing, but listen in our quiet to the call of our God, to the Christ within all of us. Amen.